Okay, so today I'm going to do a video about travel fails. So all the things that have gone wrong while traveling, and it's kind of embarrassing, but a lot of these do have to do with the fact that I have a sensitive stomach, so I get really sick when I eat, to the point where I'm in pain. So I want to say the very first trip where I was like really sick was my London, Paris, Amsterdam trip, and I was kind of sick throughout the whole trip. It started in Amsterdam, and when I was there I had really just without thinking of like that the food was gonna make me sick. So I seen a hot dog stand outside of, I think it was like the Van Gogh museum or something. We had just gotten out of the museum and I was hungry, and I ate at this hot dog stand and it said American hot dogs, and I don't know why, just like something didn't click in my head, and I literally just decided like I'm just gonna eat this, and I was dying within like 20 minutes of eating that. Like I don't know what happened or what kind of meat that they use out there, because if you travel to Europe, like getting a hamburger or hot dog is not the same like getting it in the US. It's not the same like meat, like texture or whatever it is that they use out there. It's not the same that we have here in the US. So that was like one thing. I got really sick in Amsterdam. And then on that trip in Paris, I had started getting like allergies, and I didn't really think much of it, but it really started with my eyes like burning, and I didn't really do anything about it. And then when I got to London, my eyes were so swollen and dry to the point where I had to wear my sunglasses, because my trip was so like fast that I couldn't go to a pharmacy to get any allergy medicine. I don't know why, I just didn't have the time or didn't go. And so in all my pictures in London, I'm wearing sunglasses because literally my eyes were so red. Another thing that happened on that trip was my shoe broke in London. So I was wearing these H&M like booties that had a heel on it, and if you've ever been to London or just anywhere in Europe, there's a lot of cobblestone. So I'm walking and then I just start feeling like weird, like unbalanced, and I looked down and the heel of my shoe was completely broken off. It was so embarrassing. Like honestly, I just think back, I'm like, how embarrassing. I wore these like cheap H&M shoes, and I don't think I ever bought H&M after that. But I was just like so upset that I was like had to walk around London for that day with a broken shoe. In Amsterdam, this was 2012, so this was like before anybody was really using like their phone for like Google Maps. And a lot of people on that trip, like we didn't even have cell phone service, so like the only time we could use our phone was like we were connected to Wi-Fi. So I and people from my tour group were like walking around exploring, and we literally got lost in Amsterdam. I mean lost, like we had no idea where we were at. We were like just walking around, and I was with a group of people who were from New York, so they're used to cities, and I'm not used to cities. I'm from Phoenix, so this is not like a city where we walk around in. We don't do that out here. So I was with a group of people who were from New York, and I felt so lucky that that they were with me, because I probably would have panicked and cried and just like lost my shit, because I would have no way on how to get back to our hostel, or just even what to do with myself, because I didn't have Google Maps or anything that we would have today that would help me get like find my where I need to go. One thing I did was I booked 2 trips back to back. So I went to Greece first, and then I was gonna go to Italy. So in that trip, I had overpacked so much because I was going to spend 3 weeks in Europe. And I had no idea that, first of all, hotels out there, for the most part, do not have elevators, or they have an elevator and it's one and maybe 2 people can fit in it at a time. It's not like here in the US. So I was carrying luggage, bags, okay, a big suitcase, like a gym bag, and then like I just had too much on me, to the point that like every boat ride, every hotel, I was just getting so exhausted that by the time I was done in Italy, I literally was throwing stuff away. I was like, I'm throwing this away. I just started like, I wanted to leave everything. It was just got so exhausting carrying that around. And that was such a big fail because I feel like I couldn't enjoy myself because I was so worried about my luggage. Especially like when you're on these boats in Greece and you're going to like islands and islands, you just leave your luggage in the rest with everyone else. Another travel fail that we had, it was in Greece, and it didn't necessarily happen directly to me, but it was with the group of people I was with. So my tour group, I had some friends with me. My New York friends have came to that trip, and then my friends from college had came to my trip. And it happened to our group, so us as a whole, we were on a beach, I think in Mykonos. It was like, you know, if you've ever been to Mykonos, it is so wild out there. Like, you literally will have the most fun in your life that you ever had. But unfortunately, what happened was there was a fight that broke out with our tour group, and I believe some like guys from Naples, they were Italian, they weren't Greek. Well, anyways, it was just some guy came up to our group and like flashed himself to the girls, like literally pulled out his privates, and a whole fight broke out. It was just so dramatic, and I literally felt so like lost in what was happening, because like literally my brain wasn't functioning on what was actually happening in front of me. I was just like watching people like go crazy. And I think that was terrifying. The last thing you want to do is get into a fight in another country, because you just like don't know what's gonna happen. Don't speak the language. You don't want to get arrested in Greece. Like, we're just trying to have a good time. Like, what is going on? The other thing that happened, and this was on my way from Greece to Italy. So when I was in the airport at Athens, I started to feel sick, but I just really thought like I was tired, because, you know, it had been like party. But little did I know, I was actually getting really sick. So on my flight from Athens to Milan, I had a day before I meet my group for Italy. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna like take advantage. I'm gonna go tour Milan, you know, see what it has to offer. That didn't happen. I was sick the entire time in Italy. Like, the first 4 days that I was in Italy, I had strep. I was so miserable. I slept the first day that I got to Italy, and I was in Milan by myself. I just slept. I was exhausted. And then I really didn't start feeling better till we got to stay in Rome, and then I started to feel better. But before that, I was just miserable. Another travel fail was when I went to Germany. Again, this is food based. I was in Munich for Oktoberfest, and I just was not liking the food out there. The only time I enjoyed myself was when I was eating the breakfast at our hostel, because like that was the only thing I could eat and not feel sick. Like, everything I was eating like made me sick. So the entire time I was out there, I was just like in so much pain, and I hated like the like big sausage links that they eat out there, and it was miserable. if you have like stomach issues like me, or you're a vegetarian, vegan, whatever, you're gonna have a hard time traveling. You're gonna have a hard time traveling because you don't really get to be picky about what you eat. Sometimes you just have to eat what's available to you, and that's whether you're just like on the go, and the way like you don't have time to sit and pick a restaurant and, you know, see what they have to offer. You just have to just go with it. That was the issue in Germany, was like there was no time to like really sit down and let's find a good place to eat, let's find some good food. It was just like a horrible experience for me. No offense to the Germans, but the food was whack. I hear the food is better in Berlin. I went to St. Patrick's Day in Dublin, and it was cold and rainy. So I was feeling like so out of it that I wanted to go back to my hostel. So one of the guys in my group was like, oh, I'll walk you back. So we're walking, and we're literally like, I don't know if I was speed walking or what happened, but I slipped and fell so hard on that cobblestone. So hard. Like literally I fell, and I felt like with both my feet went up, and I fell like hands down, like catching myself on the ground, and I had my phone in my hand, and luckily it didn't crack, but oh my gosh, that was painful. Literally my back hurt the entire time. That was really the only bad thing that happened in Ireland. Otherwise that trip was really good, but that fall was like a fall that shook me, and I just couldn't believe, like, and I was so embarrassed because I fell in front of people. Like there was people like looking at me, and I was like, oh my god, just get me up. Another travel fail I've had is this was in Italy, and this has to do another thing too with food. I'm telling you, my travel fails have to do with food. When I was in Italy, I was so, at that point I had been sick, and then everybody just always wants to eat pasta when you're out there. And don't get me wrong, like pasta is so good, but there's only so much pasta that you can eat before it literally just starts to like kill you, okay, like kill your insides. One thing was that I ate McDonald's in Rome, and I just kind of, you know, I just kind of think like, oh, it's gonna be whatever, you know, it's McDonald's. No, it's literally not the same, and I was so sick from that. I'll never eat fast food, like Americanized fast food, in Europe, because it's not the same. Like a burger is not a burger, and you will ruin your trip if you keep trying to just eat American things. Last year on my birthday, so I went to Rocky Point, which is like a 3.5-hour drive from where I'm at in Phoenix. Leading up to that trip, I was having an allergic reaction. So I had for whatever reason, I was having an allergic reaction, and my eyes were swelling up and burning. And I didn't know what was causing this, so whatever, I was just like taking allergy medicine. And then the day of my birthday last year, I literally, like, one whole side of my body was swollen in hives and burning. It was on fire. So I was in pain from one half of my body. Like my skin was red and swollen and whatever. I go to the hospital, I get a freaking like shot, and they put me on these steroids. So the entire time that I'm in Rocky Point for my birthday, I'm on steroids, and I'm like dying from my allergies. It was so horrible because you mix that with alcohol, and of course I got sick. I was sick when I came back. I had caught a bug, and it's just like, it's so horrible, you guys. Like, traveling always seems like fun and like glamorous, but there's always something that can go wrong. Especially with me, it always goes wrong. I don't know, like the only time I've ever came close to like missing a flight was I was running to the wrong gate. I had a straight shot from London to San Francisco. And at that point, I had already had one flight from Dublin to London, or wherever I was at. I don't remember where I was at. No, I was in Shannon. So from Shannon to London, from London to San Francisco, then from San Francisco to Phoenix. So there was like a lot of flights. So I was already tired and hungry and just so annoyed. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss my flight. I can't miss this flight. It's a 12-hour flight. It's like literally, I can't miss it. And I'm running to my gate, and at the airport, those like walkways that like you walk on and like carries you or whatever. I literally get on that, and I'm running on the wrong end of it, so it's literally taking me back, and I'm trying to run forward. And then I just kind of slowed down. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassing. Like, I'm that person freaking out in the airport trying to find my gate. And I realized I was running to the wrong gate, so I had to run to the right gate, and I barely made it. But those are the only travel fails I can think of right now. Let me know if you've had some travel fails. Like, I feel like I can't be the only one who's had travel fails. So that was it for today's video.